Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Steve Ramona. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness. Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal and every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. Today's guest is going to light you up. You'll be motivated, you'll be challenged, and most importantly, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action both in your life and the lives of others. Audience, here's your homework. How will you serve yourself and others today? Doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game. So lean in, take notes. Shout out to my two sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, and it deserves to perform like one. Want to think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer? Just text the word optimize to 72000. Optimize to 72000 and get instant access to 6 short, powerful videos, each just 3 to 5 minutes, that reveals simple strategies to unlock peak mental performance. Because when your brain is clear, your business grows. And Epic Impact, the storytelling system that helps your message connect and convert, it's just 4 steps. Engage, persuade, inspire, close with clarity. I use it every day for all my messages. Try it free at epicimpact.ai with code STEVE. Change your messages, change your results. Excited to announce Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast was named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you all of you, my guests and my audience. You've impacted so many people. Let's continue doing that. Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. You probably know that by now, but that's what us hosts do. We say our name. It just cracks me up. It's probably underneath me now, but I am pretty fired up. I got to spend about 16 minutes with multiple guests today, and talk about power and a servant heart. How they're so successful, but they're out there impacting and serving people daily, which I talk about all the time. I'm doing the same thing. We can still serve, and God or universe will take care of you. So let's bring our guest on. Mike and Jeff, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Hey, Steve. Thank you.
I love it. Let's start with you, Jeff. I'm going to ask you the same question, Mike. What is servant leadership? What's the description in your mind?
Oh, the description of servant leadership, I think, being a person of faith, I look at Jesus as the quintessential model of leadership. I mean, he leads through the grave, beyond the grave, right? And those that follow him are exceptional leaders. And we look at what he has done through his leadership, things like hospitals and education reform and the Red Cross, Habitat for Humanity, and we go on and on. By those who followed his leadership model, we look at how the world is radically different. And he did it through serving. He just simply served, and he served, really, if we want to be specific, he served 12 men very effectively. And in just focusing on those 12, and they turn around, it got vectored out to where, and so for me, when I think of servant leadership, I look at him and I'm like, man, that's the way to do it. It's to put somebody else's life, dream, vision, need before yours, and to pour yourself into that. And then and it's almost like surfing at that point. Then you just ride the wave. So that's what I would say, Steve.
It's a beautiful analogy. Mike, what about you?
You know, I can honestly say I when I heard it defined the first time, I guess I thought, well, I think that's what I do, because I learned from my late father. He was a pioneer. wasn't raised as a Christian, was saved when I was 2 years old. And his little church in Ohio, where we were from, moved us to northern Arizona to minister among and serve the Native American tribal people, Navajo and Hopi. And I watched my dad serve. That's the only thing I knew. Steve, there's a beautiful example. It's a remote little scripture, but King David was talking about his days of beginnings, and he said, "You called me from following the ewes." Now, we wouldn't understand that language unless we'd been shepherds, but the ewes are the pregnant lambs that are going to produce. And in the spring of the year, when they're going to start lambing, a smart shepherd, a shepherd not self serving, a shepherd not hard driving, recognizes that sheep are a flock instinct following animal. So a shepherd can go out front and set the pace because of his own aspirations, desires, drives, and the sheep will instinctively follow. Even if it's too hard for them, too long a day, and too steep a trail, they will start to abort their lambs because they're being driven too hard. But their instinct is to follow. So in the spring of the year, the shepherd that was wise and loving would go to the back of the flock and let the sheep set the pace for how quickly they could move toward green grass. And David says, "You called me from following the ewes." I think God recognizes when we're in it to serve ourselves in life or serve a greater cause. And so servant leadership to me is just a natural place to land if you really care about people and you want to move the needle on making life better for anybody. You're going to have to find a way to serve them. They're not there to serve you. You're there to serve them.
You guys both nailed legacy, and it's getting me excited because I love legacy. I think it's in your coaching program with executives. I'll start with you, Mike. Is legacy a part of that? Because I think it's powerful. That's what I'm trying to do, is leave a great legacy.
Yeah. Well, it is absolutely, because for one thing, and this is not a negative at all, Steve, it's just reality, but as we reach what is more the fall of our lives, the latter end, the last quarter, whatever, I remember being 25, 30, 35. I never thought about the end of life issues or dying, not once a year. Now you think about it at some point every day. How much time have I got left? Is this worth it? Uh, is it going to make a difference? What am I going to leave for the next generation? Because we suffer, Jeff and I, in our studies, are doing a next book on all the theories and the craziness surrounding end of the world issues and what it actually really looks like. And is it a doomsday message? Is it a message of hope? And that's what Jeff and I are working on now, because we believe it's a message of hope. But when you understand that there is an end to all things and that you don't have forever and you want to leave something to the next generation, what we've come to understand, Steve, is that everyone, especially prophecy, quote unquote, kind of teachers, we all get our personal ego involved, and we think we are the generation in scripture that it's always talking about. It couldn't be talking about a generation of people 1,000 years ago that the message was actually directed to. No, it has to be about us. So when you understand that it's not all about you, but there will probably be another generation and another after that, then are we going to leave the world in a little better place than we found it? That becomes our drive.
Man, I'm a host that never comes speechless. I don't know what to say to that, because that is well said, because servant leadership leads to legacy. You keep
Yep.
making that impact. So, Jeff, we talked about purposefulness. I could barely say it, but purpose. I know that's another part of your coaching and things. But talk about really the impact, because I know a lot of people don't know what their purpose is.
Yeah, and I, when Mike was talking here a moment ago, I've been thinking about this for a little bit, and I'm going to connect this purposefulness to legacy if I can.
Yes.
Um, I've been thinking about the question of, I think all of us, we get to the stage of life where we're at and we're saying, okay, I've lived my life for me and now I want to give my life away. And that's huge. That's usually a legacy question. And that usually leads to, what's my purpose and how do I go about giving my life away? But I think there's one more question that people that leave a lasting legacy, it's the final question that so many people don't ask. And it's the question of how can I give my death away? Not just my life, but how can my death be a blessing to the next generation? And again, when I look at Jesus and I look at his death, water and blood come from his side. His death becomes his legacy. Like he gives something to us in his death that ultimately turns into eternal, like an eternal blessing. So when we talk about our purpose and finding, and living a life on purpose or living a life with purpose, I think it's rooted first in coming to understand who we are, like a strong sense of identity. And this is something that Mike and I talk a lot about in our Real Happy book. But it's Jesus standing in the waters and having that strong sense that I am my Father's beloved and I bring him great joy. Like I've not even accomplished anything. I've not performed one miracle. I've not done one single thing, and yet the joy of heaven is shining over me. And I'm going to live my whole life with that identity being what drives me. I'm not driven to perform, to achieve, to accomplish in order to get an identity. I already have it. I am living out of the joy and the abundance of that. And I think once you have that kind of as your identity, that then leads you to your purpose. And then when you lead your purpose all the way out, you can say with, like Jesus on the cross, it is finished. You can finish what you set out to do. Or like the Apostle Paul says, I have fought a good fight. I have finished. When you have a purpose, then you can finish what you've been brought here on earth to do. And that gives you the lasting legacy that leads on to another generation, inspires another generation. It gives them kind of the inspiration, and it gives them also a sense of direction in that.
What's interesting, Jesus' death, we celebrate every year for hundreds and thousands of years on Easter. We celebrate, talk about leaving a legacy. I don't know if me and all three of us could do that, but if we got close or just something that did that, give my death away. I get taught as a host. That's why I like to be the stupidest guy in the podcast, because I get to learn from you guys as well. So Jeff, let's talk about faith and faith in business. This is doing business with a servant's heart. It's life too. I could say doing business in the servant's heart, business and life, which I'll tell people a lot of times. But, first you, Jeff, then you, Mike. How do you bring faith in, and how does it help the ROI? Because business needs to make money.
Yeah, I think, and by the way, I almost would like to defer most of my time here to Mike,
Sure.
because Mike has been the epitome of this idea of living and walking out faith in a way that is admirable and noble, and people look to him and how he walks his walk by faith. But all I would say is this: I think when we live, with a view to eternity, and I'm not just living for the right here and the right now, but I'm living under the specter of eternity. And what I'm kind of reminded of is the book of Ecclesiastes, where the writer, the philosopher keeps saying over and over, all is vanity of vanities, and everything under the sun is vanity. And he says this for like 11 chapters. Like everything's worthless and it's futile and it's meaningless. And then he gets to chapter 11 and 12 and he shifts and he says, but when we're not living under the sun, when we're living not under time, not under the clock, everything is futile. If all I have to live for is the 70 years of my life. But if I'm living for something that is eternal, well, that requires faith, because I can't see it. And if I live for that, then my life is so rich and so meaningful.
I love that. And I love the fact of faith, because that fits everywhere. I'm going to go play a football game. Football players, they pray all the time. NFL, we're in the NFL season. Why do they pray? Well, because it gives them faith that they can stay away from injury and all that. So it goes everywhere in our life, just not in the church, which I love. Mike, I know you've got a great answer to this. I could see it in your face.
Oh, well, I'm enjoying this so much, but I was thinking just a minute ago, Steve, the faith role in my life is I wouldn't even get out of bed if it wasn't for what I believed. Faith drives everything. Uh, I was talking to a guy yesterday that wants to do some kind of sponsorship. He has a coffee company and he wants to do an agreement with us and put it on the website and whatever. And we get a piece of it and he sponsors us. And I was looking at the paperwork last night and I was thinking, I think this can work. I think this would be a help. I believe we can do this. But see what I'm saying? The whole language is faith. I'm not even going to call the guy back if I don't think it'll work. What am I going to waste my time for? But when faith is born, even if it's a seed, when faith is born, you pursue it. That's the only thing that gets me up in the morning. I believe I can do something that's going to make a difference, and making a difference makes me feel better. And it's an endless cycle. So I'm going to get up and serve somebody, or I'm going to stay in bed. So without faith, it is impossible to please God. And it's also impossible to build a business. You can't build a business without faith.
Amen. Amen. And it's interesting about faith, and what you're saying is it's a huge lesson that you both putting out there. Mike, you just did. Audience, what he's saying is, if it didn't fit his purpose and faith, he's not going to take the money. That's right. Powerful. We a lot of people out there are taking the money because they need it, or they just want the money. Yeah. And it doesn't end well. So I thank you for sharing that. I try to bring that up a lot, because we could turn money away and still be successful. That shouldn't be the end all be all. Let's talk about the book. That's why we're here. I'm excited. I can't wait to get it myself. Mike, let's start with you. What's your thoughts on the book? And then we'll get to you, Jeff.
Well, the biggest change that came in my own life that precipitated doing this book and changed me while we did it, hooking up with Jeff to do it with which was a relational thing that grew to where we're just brothers in this and in life. The biggest issue that it solved for me, Steve, is I can honestly say, with lots of mistakes sprinkled in, I always lived my life with a desire to please God and to do the right thing, but I was never sure that I was, because I wasn't. I had a really twisted view of God, and unfortunately, it's way too common with people. And that is, I'm paraphrasing now, but he's basically ticked off at all of us. We've all been a disappointment, and you'll never do enough to make him really happy. I would not have put happy and God in the same sentence. Then when I learned that God, with us as his children, is really invested in wanting us to be happy. One of the remarks we got early on when the book was released is a Pharisee, that's what I call them, people that are like super holy and they find something wrong with everything you write or say. And he said, I don't think God is interested in us being happy. I think he's interested in us being holy. And he went on to say some pretty tough things. And my secretary saw the post before I did. And she said, what do you want me to do with this? I said, nothing. I'm going to answer him. I'm going to tell him you're absolutely right. And that's been my struggle my whole life, is trying to be holy enough to believe I please God. And when I realized that will never happen, because I am not inherently holy. I am not holy. The only thing good about me is him. And when I understand how happy he is with me, how much he loves me, devoid of any performance. That's what Jeff referenced when Jesus went in the baptismal water. He was 30 years old. He hadn't done one miracle or preached one sermon. Some people, other than the culture, believing that a rabbi could start at 30, they must have been starting to think, man, this guy's got a failure to launch here. When is he going to get started? And yet the word from the heavens was, This is my much loved son, and I'm totally pleased with him. He makes my heart fill with joy. And that changed my life, that God is happy with us and wants us to be happy. I'm
Sold.
convinced.
I was going to buy it before. Now I'm really going to buy it. Now I can hear from you, Jeff, and it's probably make me buy 2 books now.
Yeah, we live in an age of anxiety. I think that's why there's so much discussion around happiness. And whether it's the Harvard study that came out a couple of years ago that, that's been going on for about 80 years, the research project, everyone is concerned with how to get happy. And then the people try to find shortcuts for it through pills or through some kind of substance that will somehow get them there. And so I think the topic of happiness is very relevant. And like Mike says, it doesn't matter if you're a religious person or irreligious, everyone is questing somehow through some means to get to that. And in America, I mean, the religion of Americans, at least Christian Smith says, the professor from Notre Dame, he says, the current religion of Americans today is moral therapeutic deism. That we think that if we do the right thing, that will somehow get us happy, and that God is this aloof, far off thing, energy force somewhere, but isn't personal or intimate. And I think, what we get here, and the thing that Mike and I were really after with this book, and Mike can tell you about kind of the genesis of where the idea came from to write this book. But I think what we were really after is like there's got to be since it's something that we were made for, like it's something that we were absolutely made for. Every decision, Steve, that we make with the hope that this will somehow lead to me being happy. Every meal we get, it doesn't matter, what we eat, where we're going, what we're doing. It's like somehow this will make me. And yet, we're some of the most unhappy people in the world.
Yeah.
And yet that's our purpose. We're driving towards that. And I think part of that is because we're getting the cart before the horse. And what happens with Jesus and what he's offering to us is that there is a happiness that's right there, that you don't have to chase after and pursue it. You don't have to run after it in hopes that someday, eventually, I can get there if I do the right thing, if I say the right prayer, if I act the right way. All you have to do is you have to just kind of make room, open up the curtain, and it's like the sun. It'll come flooding into your heart if you'll just make some room for it. But most of us are so jam-packed, crammed up with all kinds of activities, with all kinds of the clutter of stuff, and we just think, I need more. If I get more of this, or I do more of that, or become more of this, or I'll eventually get happy. And it's counterintuitive to everything that we're doing. And it's countercultural to everything that our world tells us. That our world is telling us you need to have this, drive this car, have this experience, go on this vacation, and you'll finally get happiness. And Jesus is going, it's actually right here in the water. It's right here. If you'll just open up your eyes, it is a spiritual reality that is as close to you as your breath. It's right there. And just a subtle shift, and you can hear that eternal voice that's whispering over you, I love you. You make me happy. You bring me great joy. It's right there. And you don't have to chase for it. And I think that, for both Mike and I, shocked us. Because we're children of our culture, that this is, and we're pursuing, chasing. And it's like, no, that's not what's going on here. And then when Jesus opens up with his 8 happy attitudes, which we call the Beatitudes, Makarios, the Greek word that's being used for blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are the pure in heart, that Greek word Makarios is actually the Greek word for blissful, happy. And we translated it as blessed. And there's another Greek word, by the way. There's actually 2 other Greek words for blessed. But we didn't, the translators were like, but happy just sounds too cheap. But Jesus used happy. It's what he gave us. He could have used the word for blessed, but he didn't. Why? Because God is concerned with our happiness. We were made for it. We crave it. We long for it. And he's like, I want to open up. I want to debut my we call it his TED Talk. I want to debut my TED Talk here, and I want to tell you in 8 statements how much God wants happiness for you. So if you're poor in spirit, you can have it. If you're going through loss, excruciating loss, and you're mourning, you can have it too. If you're hungry and you're thirsty, you can have it as well. If you're meek, of a meek disposition, and you're not grabbing and groping and trying to seize and take and dog eat dog world, if you just like let it come to you and don't try to take it from somebody else, happiness is for you as well. And I think for both of us, it was an eye-opening moment and a personal experience with the reality of it that we had happen to us along the way.
2 words: social media. As I'm thinking, it's popping in my head, all that doom scrolling. So we're coming to the end here, Mike. Give us the genesis of the book and where it came from.
Well, about my own personal happiness, I was involved in serving as I could in pastoral ministry and helping people. Wasn't that personally happy because when you're not sure where you stand uh, with God, and I had lots of shame and condemnation, and that was probably self-imposed. But that tends to be what religion can do to you. If religion, because what Jeff and I espouse is a relationship with Jesus, not a religious practice, so that because religion, all of them, not just Christianity, all of the world's major religions, paraphrased, are man's search for pleasing God, whatever their concept of God is. What do I have to do to please him? Do I need to crawl? Do I need to beg? Do I need to cut myself? Do I need to sacrifice? Do I need to fast? What do I need to do? Uh, I'll close with this, Steve. Jeff referenced the Harvard study. It's the longest contiguous study ever done on happiness. John F. Kennedy was a student at Harvard when they started it. It lasted over 80 years, and then they wrote a book. With due respect to their study, I didn't learn very much from the book because the gist of the book is at the end of 80 years, here's what they learned. The happiest people in this 1,500 men study from Harvard students, the happiest ones are if you have a good family surrounding you and if you have a close knit group of friends, you're going to live a happier life. Well, I wanted to say, duh, but but what are we supposed to do if we don't have that? What am I supposed to tell people who don't have a family that's supportive? What are we supposed to tell people that don't have a friend and live by themselves and are dying of loneliness? No happiness for you. No, the message of Jesus is, as Jeff said, you can be poor and empty and you can be happy. You can be mourning a loss and you can be happy. You can be persecuted and you can be happy because this is not an external experience. It's something so beautiful that I'll fill you with that no matter what the world throws at you, you've got a smile, you got peace in your heart, and you're going to live a good life. That's the gist.
You guys exude happiness. You're making me happy. Not that I'm not always happy, but boy, oh boy, I'm just going to take clips of this and listen to it every morning. I'll be happy every morning I wake up. Thank you for that. So let's end with a fun improv. So we're going to go to a restaurant. I'm going to reserve a table at a restaurant for all 3 of us. You both get 2 people you can invite, dead or alive, that you want to sit and talk to and just get to know and get mentoring and learn from. But the second most important question is, what food would you order for the table? Start with you, Mike.
Well, I'm going to start dead or alive. I think just off the cuff, I don't know, Jordan Peterson would be a good conversation. I'd like to talk to him. And I'd like to talk to Abraham Lincoln. I mean, he was in an unbelievably precarious place. The country was absolutely torn in half. And he was a man that had lost every election he ever ran for until finally getting elected. So he's just a beautiful but complicated character I'd love to talk to about what it was like there. There are so many others.
Yeah.
What would we order? Well, I wouldn't order anything fried. I don't want to offend anybody by ordering fried food. wouldn't have anything carbonated to drink. It would have to be, I'd have to impress them with healthy living. So there you go.
Beautiful. How about you, Jeff? Who are two people you'd invite?
Steve, with your questions.
I know.
Before we started, you threw out a tough question. Then you throw this one out, and I was like, I was going. I hope I'm not the first one. I hope he directs this to Mike first, and then I can have some time to think about it. And I still haven't thought all the way through. Okay, so obviously, I think it's a given. Both all of us would say, well, if I could sit down with Jesus, but that wouldn't be fair, right?
We'll add
So
a
I'll put
third
that.
chair for him. We'll add
Yeah,
an extra
okay.
chair for
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's there anyway. All right.
Yeah.
And, I've always been fascinated with the fourth gospel, with the genius, literary genius of the Gospel of John. So I would love to sit down with John. I would. I mean, that would be a kick. I think that'd be a great kick. If it's somebody, if it was somebody that is more contemporary to us, I think. I would love to have a conversation. I would have loved to have had a conversation with Rene Girard, who was a philosopher and passed away in 2012. I think those two people for dinner, pizza.
Easy peasy. I like it. We got the good food from Mike and the pizza for a little bit of cheat day.
That's right.
Mike didn't cheat, but we'll do a little cheat. We're gonna bring wine if Jesus will be there.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
So for that,
Yeah.
both you guys, I've just met you today, and you've enlightened my heart. My heart is pumping on my chest right now. For me personally, thank you for being such blessed guests and being humble and transparent. First, name of the book, and how can people get a hold of you guys? I'm sure people want to connect with you.
Yeah, the name of the book, and then I'll let Mike kind of share with us the website a person go to, but you can get the book on Amazon. But the name of the book is Real Happy: Jesus's Surprising Path to Genuine Joy. And it can be read almost like a resource. If a person just wants to focus on one of the Beatitudes, they could do that. Or they could read it all the way through. We've had a tremendous amount of success in book clubs, in college students that are using it to work through it. Single moms and just different people in different stages of life have found to be incredibly helpful, which gives us a lot of joy when we can see it's giving other people joy. And then the website that they could go to is imrealhappy.com. I'm real happy, no apostrophe. IamRealHappy.com.
Want to add anything, Mike? You did pretty good.
He did really good. One of the things that makes this unique, Steve, is that we put a QR code in the back of the book, and this is an active document because Jeff and I are still learning. So what we do is when you get the book, then you go to the QR code and it pops you to the resource page. Like, for instance, 2 weeks ago, Jeff and I just added an addition, 18 ways to forgive, because a lot of people have an offense problem and they just can't get past it. So we add things as it comes to us and as we write them, as we think through it. Then as a book owner, then you have a QR code that's going to continually add new resources. We have a workbook, we have a video course, all kind of things. It's taking a life of its own, and we're building, Steve, what we're calling the Happy Army. Costs nothing to join. You go to imrealhappy.com and say, I want to be in the Happy Army. And then we just fill you with wonderful things that we send you devotionals and updates and building a community of joy. That's what it's about.
Happy Army. I love that.
Well, you've been a
guys,
pleasure to be with, Steve. I got to tell you that before we finish.
Yeah.
Back at both of you guys. I knew it would be when we started talking, but you got me really inspired. So I'm going to do something special.
Good.
So audience, first two people that reach out to Jeff or Mike or both of them on the web, whatever way you reach out and mention my podcast, I will send you their book for free. The first two people. So I want to get this in people's hands. Happiness is needed in this world.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the podcast to be like this. That's why I do them. And the impact you've made on me, I know you're impacting others. So again, mention my name or the podcast, Steve Ramona, or Doing Business. I was on the Doing Business podcast. Doesn't matter. They'll get it. and they'll reach out to me, and I'll reach out to you and get your address, and I will send you to Amazon this wonderful book, and hopefully you share it, because when you put something like a Servant's Heart QR code where you're giving stuff away for free, that's what we do as servant leaders.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Our information, our intelligence should be free. So anything you guys want to add? Looks like, do you want to add something, Mike?
I just want to talk to you again sometime, Steve.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Love your spirit. I love your spirit. You're the real deal, and your audience is so fortunate to have someone like you out there filling them with goodness and with truth and with beauty. Love it.
Amen. Thank you guys so much. And audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know both these guys are going to love what I'm going to say. I love subscribers. I have 13, 14,000. Thank you. We're making an impact. But here's the power of a podcast, especially this one. You're listening to Jeff and Mike, and you're going, my cousin, I always pick cousins. I don't know why, but we'll just do it. He's not happy right now. I just talked to him last week. He's not, I could tell. Get the link when you subscribe and share it with them.
Yeah.
These are truly gifts what Jeff and Mike gave us, or any other podcast. Doesn't have to be mine. Whatever podcast you listen to, and you listen to something and go, hey, I've had people send me podcasts and said, listen to it. And it changed my life. It helped me. Again, it doesn't have to be a big impact. So subscribe. Let's get this link out. Let's make an impact like we want to do. And Jeff, Mike, and me want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. God bless everyone. Talk to you soon.